The first New York Jets preseason game of 2023 is in the books. Whose stock do I think is up and whose is down? Let's talk about it right now. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm WA2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. I want to start off by saying thank you. We have just crossed over the 700 subscriber threshold. I am feeling great about that. I can't wait to get to 800 and so on and so on. Thanks, everybody who's taken the time to support the channel and watch these videos. If you're brand new, please like and subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like. So, let's talk about the New York Jets preseason opener in Canton, Ohio against the Cleveland Browns. Jets come up on the short end, 21-16. Robert Saleh's first exhibition game loss as head coach of the Jets. Not that any of that matters. The key is getting out of there without any catastrophic injuries. It appears as of now that that is the case for the Jets. Hamza Nasruddin had to leave the game pretty early on with a neck injury. A couple other hamstring injuries here and there, but it doesn't seem as though there's anything overly alarming. But I am going to talk about a couple of different players. Whose stock after this game is on the rise, whose is falling, and who's just kind of maybe like a little bit too soon to really make a call on. So let's go through some of these players. Number one for stock up is Mekhibecton, the left tackle, or right tackle, depending on where the coaching staff decides to put him. This was the player I was watching closest. A lot of fellow Jets fans were watching as well. Now, the idea was he was going to play 20 to 25 snaps. He played only 7 on offense. He did come in a little bit later on for special teams. But he did play well in the opportunities that he had. I remember one particular pass rush where it seemed like the pass rusher was going to go by him, but Becton was able to recover and push him out behind the quarterback so that Zach Wilson was not going to be under any pressure. And I even saw some comments on Twitter during the game that Becton still stinks. And what Mekhibecton doesn't stink as a football player. Okay, he's an excellent run blocker. His pass blocking is a little bit shakier. That's a little bit more unsteady. But there's a difference between stinking and getting injuries. Okay, just because you get hurt does not mean your talent is that lackluster. And I think and I've been a Becton critic with certain aspects of his personality and his conduct. I've been the first one to criticize him, but I'm willing to give him credit. I make no bones about it. I think he's a very capable offensive tackle. And, he came out of the game because, he felt a little tightness in the knee. No need to rush that, especially on the turf that Canton, Ohio has. So I do feel good that when he played, he seemed to be a productive piece. Now, another player whose stock is up is the center, joetippmann. Played 43 snaps out of 47 total. It was amazing to me that there were Jets fans just freaking out this guy was a bust because he's running with the 2s as opposed to with the 1s. I think these folks need a little reminder. Sauce Gardner started out with the 2s as well. Garrett Wilson didn't start the first game for the Jets last season. This coaching staff makes rookies earn their keep, and I think that's a good way to do it. He looked very good in passing protection, I felt, and the run game maybe not quite as good, but he still was able to make an impact and push some blockers back when he had to do it. Good start for the rookie for his first action on an NFL field. Another player who's stock up, defensive end willmcdonald, played 29 snaps out of 64. That spin move, oh my gosh, was that beautiful. It was so smooth, so quick, and so fluid. He had a little bit of trouble getting past DeJuan Jones, drafted by Cleveland. That is a mammoth tackle, and that's okay with that. I'm okay with that. willmcdonald is he's kind of like a raw piece of clay with a lot of ability and a lot of moldability. He's got a great move. That spin move is going to be very dynamic, but he needs to maybe add another, it's like a pitcher in baseball adding another pitch to his arsenal. willmcdonald might need another move, but you can see the speed, you can see the explosiveness and the acceleration. And man, I really think that the Jets made a good move drafting willmcdonald That doesn't mean he's going to get a ton of playing time this season, but I could see him following in the footsteps of a Bryce Huff, where he gets those select pass rushing opportunities and he takes advantage of them. Now, this I didn't expect to say for stock up. The linebackers. I was very concerned about linebacker going into the season, but a lot of them made some impactful plays. Chazzsurratt had an interception. That was a linebacker we talked about on the preview video. You can go back and check that out. I liked what I saw from him. I believe he did hurt his hamstring and had to leave the game. Jamiensherwood. You know, it's easy to forget. Sherwood is coming off Achilles surgery that he had 2 years ago, and it typically takes 1 to 2 years to really get your explosiveness back. Just ask Carl Lawson. He'll tell you. Okay, but he was running better than I've seen in a while, forced a fumble, and there are even some of the more under-the-radar guys, you know, like Claudine Cherilus. That people have asked me, who's an undrafted free agent that I could see coming out of nowhere and making the Jets? And I go to Cherilus for that reason. He flashed some talent, was running really well. I liked what I saw there. You know what? I guess this coaching staff saw some talent in some of these linebackers, and maybe that was why they were comfortable letting Quan Alexander walk. Just maybe. A couple of other players. Tonyadams. He didn't even play in this game. But you know what? That makes me happy because all the starters rested. So this gives me optimism that Tonyadams is probably going to be a starting safety along Jordan Whitehead when the season opens up on September 11th. And that's important because Adams has as much speed as any other Jet safety on this roster. Now, we all remember it was very controversial about a year ago when the Jets let Jason Pinnock go. And the New York Giants snatched him up. He became a starter later in the year, and now he's a pretty valuable part of that defense. One of the reasons the Jets let Pinnock go is because they were very bullish on Tony Adams, the undrafted free agent from the University of Illinois, a school that is fantastic at developing safeties, just like Penn State was with linebacker, or Ohio State with wide receiver. But you know what? Maybe the fact that Adams seems to be on pace to start, maybe the Jets did make a good decision. We're going to find out. Also, Treydean, another safety, undrafted free agent from Florida, played 42 snaps. Watching that game, he hit well, he doesn't miss tackles, and he has a nose for finding the football. 7 solo tackles in his first game. He bears watching. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to take that last safety roster spot from an Ashton Davis or somebody like that. And, you know, I like to talk about special teams a lot. I'm going to give special teams a whole lot of credit here as well. Pardon me. You know, Greg Zuerlein, I expressed my concerns when he kicks the ball from 50 yards and up. And you know what? He drilled 3 40-plus yard field goals last night. He made it from 54, 44, and 53 yards each. Thomas Morstead with 5 punts, averaged 49.2 yards per punt. That would have ranked him 4th in the NFL last season. So, you know, all the little things that it takes to make a team better, it seems the Jets have upgraded at punter for sure, bringing in the veteran Thomas Morstead to replace Braden Mann. Now, I'm going to mention a couple players real quick who I would say are holding steady. Stock not up or down. It's just too soon to tell. Wide receiver Jason Brownlee, who's been getting a ton of attention during the scrimmages and training camp. The one-handed catch that he's made. His size is really good. I've seen a few Jets podcasters actually rip Brownlee for having a bad game. They've been talking about he was dropping passes. Here's the bottom line. When the quarterbacks throwing you the ball are timboyle and chrisstreveler, and they're basically lofting passes up there, they're lofting rainbows up there to the sky, it's pretty hard to make a play. They're playing like jump ball, you know, with Brownlee and these other receivers. So I didn't feel like I was able to get a very good gauge on Brownlee's level of play. Zachkuntz, the tight end, same thing. Okay, played 24 snaps, but he had only 1 passing target. It was a catch for 6 yards. I didn't notice him as much as I would like, but again, I go back to the quarterbacks he was playing with. But Kuntz also played some special teams. He played punt coverage. That caught my eye because for a while I've been feeling Kenny Yeboah had a good chance to stick as the Jets' 4th tight end because he plays special teams. No other Jets wide receiver or tight end does that. So the fact that Kuntz, he showed some real, well, he's already big. We already know that he's a large guy. But he showed some real speed getting down the field on the punt coverage team. And at just watching that, I have a better feeling about his opportunities to make this roster. Also, linebacker Zaire Barnes, stock kind of in the middle. 31 snaps, 4 solo tackles, but did get burned on a touchdown. Now, a couple of players whose stock is down. The backup quarterbacks. This just reinforces the fact for me the Jets should carry just 2 quarterbacks, and Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson. Timboyle was floating those passes, 6 for 11 for 61 yards. Chrisstreveler, I'm sorry, enough. I know he has his little group of fans out there, and God bless you, but you know what? Chrisstreveler is more suited for the USFL or the XFL. 1 for 7, 9 years, showed no zip on the ball, not an accurate passer. I'm sorry. We didn't see the Streveler magic that we did last year. Running back Travisdye. So this was another player I was watching out for. 9 carries for 12 yards just isn't going to do it. I wanted a little bit more speed from him. And then the Jets go to this guy Crockett after Travisdye. So I didn't feel too good about his performance. Also down, outside linebacker Caleb Johnson got 38 snaps. Admittedly, I did not know who he was to begin with. But he did take a bad late hit penalty on a 3rd down incompletion, which extended a Cleveland Browns drive. That's a very good way to get yourself cut. Okay, and finally, brandinechols, cornerback, who I expect to see on this team as of week 2 once he serves his 1-game suspension. But he had a couple of bad penalties, didn't look too good in coverage, and he did get hurt later in the game as well. Not a good night for brandinechols at all. So those are some quick thoughts on the Jets preseason first game against Cleveland. Put your comments down there. Who stood out to you, whether positively or negatively? Also, check out on this channel, I will be doing a recap of my off-season predictions that I made. I made a bunch of predictions about what would happen in the Jets off-season. How many wound up happening? How many did not happen? Well, check it out and find out. Well, thanks everybody again for watching, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.